There was a mother mouse making her way across the kitchen floor, and she had her little mice behind her. And all of a sudden she's faced with this ferocious cat. And just like the game rangers here in South Africa, she stopped real quick and she says to the little ones, "Don't move." She says, because if you run, that cat's instinct is to go after you. Now they minded their mom, they stood there. And the cat got closer and closer and closer and was just getting ready to jump on her. And like most moms under pressure, she really got creative. And she jumped right up in the cat's face and she went, "Roof, roof, roof." And the cat took off and she went into the hole with her little ones and she turned around and you know what she said? What she said to them was this: "You see, it pays to be bilingual." So I will say, good day to you, and goeiemiddag, and sunny banane, and dumalang, and mawene, and if we have any vendor watching this, it would be unda, and namaste, and salamu alaikum. I'm Bill Gibson, and you've just received an article from my fundi, and last Friday morning, I ran a session for them called Strong Finish 2016 and Fast Start 2017. And you'll notice that within the article that you just read is we took the top 10 Strong Finish 2016 tips for you and covered them, and also Fast Start 2017, the top 10 tips. Now what we didn't discuss was what we call one simple principle to double your income, and I did cover that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top off it for you, and I'm going to cover probably in 5-10 minutes what I covered there in about an hour and a half, okay? And so before I get going on that, I just want to read something to you. 85% increase in sales year on year, David Drummond, Managing Director, Acer Africa. Controlled group of 113 financial advisors. In 5 months, Group 1 was up over Group 3 by 600%. Okay, that was a controlled group that we worked with over a 5-month period. When Nedbank adopted your program some 10 years ago, I really embraced it, and over the past 7 years, I have taken a newly formed and relatively small sales team in Pietermaritzburg and doubled its size, both in terms of people and asset size, in the first 3 years. We then split it into 2 area teams, commercial and agriculture, and we were able to double the portfolio again in the space of 2 to 3 years and are currently on target to double again in the near future. That's John Bush, Area Manager of KZN Inland Business Banking, Nedbank. Have already applied previous training from Bill's seminar, and I've tripled my stats and became Agent of the Month in June and July. And that's Deirdre Van Deventer, real estate agent with Clear Properties in Kempton Park. And she was recently on a session a couple of months ago with us. And the concepts you're teaching allowed me to build a 2 into a 100 million rand business in the last 3 years. Bill, thank you for sharing. And that's Wouter Snyman, CEO of A2 Insurance Brokers, Pretoria and Cape Town. Now, why am I reading these to you? Well, let me ask you a question. Would you be interested in seeing the principles that help these companies achieve those kind of results? Now, I can't hear you answering me, but I know what you're saying. You're saying, darn right, I'd be interested. And see, there's a thing called personal rapport, where we develop a personal rapport with people, and we know that's very important in business, but there's another thing called business rapport. And that is, when you take and look at something like this that I just read to you, that's about what I call results-based endorsements. My question to you, how many of those are you using for yourself? Look at the great job that you've done for clients and maybe you don't have in writing. Do you know that when I start a presentation, and I may go into a boardroom, it could be one of the major banks, it could be Siemens, and when I start that presentation with those people, I will start with quotes like I've just read to you, before I actually introduce myself and say who I am. And by the way, I am Bill Gibson, and I'm the chairman of Knowledge Brokers International. We have representation in the Middle East. We also have representation in Canada. And I'm actually located here, right here in South Africa, in Sandton, and I've been in this country for just a little over 20 years. So this is my base. I work out of South Africa. But what we're saying here is capitalize on your successes. Look at the ways that you can take use endorsements. You could have a client that really is fired up with the work that you've done, and you could take your smartphone and you could record them. That's an endorsement. So make sure you're capitalizing on those endorsements. Now what's happened, Voter Snyman, I had met him a number of years ago when he was at a session with me, and then since then he opened to 2. And that quote that I just read in reference to Voter Snyman came when I was doing a webinar, and he happened to be on the webinar listening to me, and I didn't know it, and he sent that in. But in the meantime, since then, Voter and I, we wrote a book called The 7 Simple Principles to Double Your Income. And I often joke and say that I'm more like a grandparent. I show up at your place and I talk to your people and get them excited, and then I leave, and then you got to take and make it work. Okay, and as you know, a grandparent will come and pick up the grandchildren and take them out, feed them full of ice cream, and get them all excited, and then they leave, and you have to take and put them to sleep. So Voter is one of those people that is a practitioner. He took and he applied it, and the same with those other companies, because those quotes came from people that really have taken and implemented. So as you know, the key is implementation to take and make things happen. So what's the principles? Here's the principle. It's quite simple. The principle is to focus. And see, the thing is that your personal assets that you and I have and that your people have, it's quite simple. We have our time, energy, ability, money, and reputation. The question is, do I invest them or am I spending them? Okay? Is it an invest or is it a spend? And the thing is, if you invest, you focus. So what we do is we focus on the right prospects or the right clients or the right lead sources and select individuals within key accounts. And what you've got to do is you've got to categorize. You've got to have criteria in order to do that. But you focus with the right frequency of contact. Very, very important. With the right database selling tools, with the right solutions, and then the right timing, presentation, skills, attitude, and the right people from your organization. Now I'm just going to focus on the first couple with you, which I think is really, really important. So categorize. Categorize your clients, AAAs, AA's, A's, B's, and C's. But not just your clients, your prospects as well. Okay? Very, very important to take and do that. Now once you have taken, you have focused, then you start the frequency of contact. And let me just give you some statistics that will interest you. There was some research done by the National Dry Goods Association of America a number of years ago, and they wanted to find out how frequency worked. Was it effective? And they took a large group of salespeople and they surveyed them. And they found out that 48% of all those salespeople in that group would take one solid no and not come back. 25% would make 2 calls and take 2 solid no's and not come back. 15% would make 3 calls, take 3 no's and not come back. And 12% would make 3 calls and take 3 no's but continue. These people, that 12%, wrote 80% of the business. And the same thing goes with the sales conversion ratio. 81% of all sales conversion, which means taking from the competition, comes from the 5th call and onward, which is absolutely vital. Okay, now I'm not suggesting for a moment that you call on somebody until they break out in a rash. I'm not saying that we should stalk them and annoy them. But one of the keys when it comes to frequency is time. And the frequency comes in 2 ways with time. One, with time, is frequency of contact, how often I see you. So you build up time with me that way, but another way is that invite me out for a ride, take me to an event, take me to dinner, okay? Or where we get length of time together. So it's frequency plus length of time. Now that alone doesn't do it, because what you need to do and what I need to do is I got to add genuine assistance. For example, right now, okay, you're here watching this video, but you're not going to hang with me if you don't feel you're getting value. So the key is to add genuine, sincere assistance. And what are we talking about? Value add. What extra can I give you? Tender, loving care. Become a valuable resource. I have an associate that if I need anything, I call him. If I need a plumber, I call him because he knows where the good plumbers are. If I need a dentist, I call him. Okay, Renus is absolutely phenomenal in the way he connects with people, and I see him as a great resource, so he adds value that way. Problem solve. Make sure that you're problem solving, and even entertainment, that becomes part of what we're doing. So what are we saying here? The thing is to use frequency, absolutely, but we must add value. As Albert Einstein said, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. So the principle is quite simple. It's better for you and I to reach 50 of the right prospects or the right clients or the right referral sources or select individuals within large organizations and key accounts 20 times with the right methods rather than 500 people twice. Okay? Does that make sense? So a lot of people will say to me in advertising, Bill, I don't have a big budget. I only got 10 grand. It's not enough money. Sure, it's enough money. Let's take the 10 grand, select the top 10 people or top 10 companies you want to get to, and then let's start a frequency and value add program to those people, and you will see return on investment. If you try to get too much reach with the budget that you've got, then you won't be effective. The same thing happens in advertising. Now, I want to share with you just a couple of little principles here that will drive this home. Is that Voder Schneiman, I invite him to often speak now that when I'm running sessions, and Voder has encapsulated this in a very simple way. What I've seen him do with 100 people, and he'll have 100 people in the audience, and he'll say to them, how many of you in here plan to buy a car sometime in the next 3 or 4 months or help somebody else buy a car? And out of that 100, there will be 3 or 4 people. And he says, now if I were a car salesman, would it be wise then for me to go after those people? And everybody says yes. He says, you're absolutely correct, because that's the low-hanging fruit. But then he asks another question. And he asks this question. How many of you people in the next 5 years plan to buy a vehicle or you'll help somebody else buy a vehicle? Every single hand goes up in the group. And he said, there lies in the principles that Bill talks about and then he teaches. He said, what I would do is start a program also with the rest of you people and adding value to you, staying in contact with you, and sometime in the next 5 years, the majority of you would buy a car from me. And see, we're all in it to do a quick sale. And yes, it's important to get that quick sale. But in the long run, it's about building that base and really taking and working the base. And you know, when it comes to frequency, it's interesting, is that if you take the stadium here in Soweto that holds 95,000, 96,000 people, and let's say I'm going to give you a business opportunity. And what I say to you is that I'm going to give you the opportunity, I'm going to give you one of those trays that has, you know, cool drinks on it and chocolate bars and crisps and peanuts and things of that sort and Biltong. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll take at halftime, you got 95,000 people there, and I'm going to allow you to stand up in front of the 95,000 people, and what you're going to do is you're going to yell, Biltong, cool drinks, crisps, peanuts, chocolate bars, come and get it. Now you've just reached 95,000 people. Or I give you a section of the stadium. And what I do is within that section of the stadium there's 3,000 people. And all during the first half, and also during the halftime, and all the second half of the game, you can wander up and down those aisles and you can say peanuts, crisps, chocolate bars, Biltong, cool drinks, peanuts, chocolate bars, cool drinks, Biltong, and you just wander up and down the aisles amongst those 3,000 people. Which one is going to make more sales? It's obvious, the second one. That's what we're talking about. And you know, when we're talking about frequency and the work with clients, remember too, we got 4 main strategies. And that is how to retain people, how to develop them, which means you're only getting a little bit, but we should be getting a lot more, how to regain, and how to gain. Okay? And so that's all part of that targeting process and taking and utilizing frequency and adding value add. And one last little tip before we sign off here. Do not be in the quote business. Most salespeople and most companies, without realizing it, end up in the quote business. How often do you get a call for a quote? And we start sending out quotes. It's very, very important. Value before price. If I go into a boardroom and I'm making a presentation and you've been through it yourself and you lay down your proposal and maybe you have also a slide presentation that you're going to give and you lay it down, and before you can even start your presentation, some of those people will flip to the last page. And what are they looking for? They're looking for the price. Now, when that happens with me and they flip to the last page, I say to them, what are you looking for? And they say, I'm looking for the price. Where is it? I say, it's in my briefcase. And that's where it's going to stay until we go through what I've put together for you, because I've taken a day and a half, 2 days, to put together some solutions that can make a difference to your business. And I would be insane to give you the price before I show you the value. So my suggestion, make that proposal separate from your financial document. Okay? Very, very important. And also, there's at times what happens with that financial document, it's very valuable to them because they don't want some people that they want to read the body of the proposal to see the price. So what that means, they don't have to rip it up. So in there, you're doing them a favor. And so I have at the last page of the proposal, I explain that, and I also explain the concept that bottom line, people go for the price immediately, when in actuality, you got to have value before price. Now, on November 22nd and 23rd here in Johannesburg in Fairlands, I'm going to be running a 2-day program called Making Your Sales and Marketing Really Pay in Any Economy. Now, I know that, or actually the proper title is Turn Your Sales and Marketing into Real Profits in Any Economy. And it's on November 22nd and 23rd. And it's going to be at 256 on Smith Street, and it's a 2-day program. And I know that it's mentioned probably in the email or the article to you from iFundi, but what I would recommend is that you contact iFundi. Okay? Contact us here at my office. My phone number is 011-784-1720. That's 011-784-1720. And you can ask for Roald or you can ask for me. And so within that email that you just got, you also can go to a landing page that will give you a good description of the 2-day program. And we'd love to have you there at that program. I know the iFundi team were at the last one, and they felt that it was one of the investments that they've ever made. Okay? So I welcome you to inquire, and also we do in-house work as well. So I'm going to say thanks for having this time with me, and let's say thanks for investing your time and energy, not spending. And have a good week, and make sure this year, read those points. You're going to finish strong and start fast. I've had companies where we've gone through and worked with, and I've had recruitment companies, I've had insurance companies, where in November we've done sessions and we focused on that, and each time they have gone over budget in December. Because a lot of us think that what happens when it comes to December the 10th, the lights are shut down on the runway here in Johannesburg or in Cape Town, and the whole place goes on vacation. That's not so. There's lots of executives working right up to the 18th and 20th of December. So if you put that extra effort in instead of slowing down, then you're going to finish off with a great year. And as you know, sports teams, in most cases, okay, the game is either lost in the last 5 minutes, lost or won in the last 5 minutes, or in that first 5 minutes. So, strong finish, fast start. Thanks a lot.